Business ethics. Hello everyone, this is Michelle, your good governance and social responsibility instructor. Here are our course outcomes for this lesson. First, define what business ethics is. Discuss the importance of business ethics. Describe the 4 rules that can help companies and their managers act in ethical ways. Let's have an activity. Assign an emoji like, love, sad, or angry according to your reaction to each of the following. Singapore Airlines provide free food to its passengers experiencing flight delays. Naka-experience na ba mo na ma-delayed ang inyong flights? Dili siya lalim, di ba? So, nice kayo ang gihimo na initiative ni Singapore Airlines na tagaan og foods ang mga passengers na na-delayed ang flights. So, I will give this a love emoji. Next, Toyota president made a public apology for defective car model. For this, I would also give a love emoji. Apology means that you accept na naakay mali. It is very ethical to give apology to the people. Next, a hotel has refused to check in a group of tourists because of their smell. For me, I would like to give this a sad emoji. We cannot blame the hotel. Maybe they are just protecting other visitors from that awful smell. No return, no exchange policy. I would like to give this a like emoji. As long as I am informed about the policy, so that I could scrutinize things that I will buy from that store before na ko siya bayaran sa cashier. Like buying a t-shirt, apparels, gadgets, and all. But today, we all know that there is no return, no exchange policy because of the pandemic. San Miguel Corporation continues to pay all its employees their salary despite of irregular operations caused by the pandemic. Of course, I will give this a love emoji. Daghan og nawalaan og trabaho because of COVID-19. And I love the idea of San Miguel na bisan pa man sa kapit o sa panahon, ginatagaan gihapon nila og importansya ang ilahang mga empleyado. So, varied reactions are expected from the public on these actions by the companies. If you were directly affected by any of this, you may either share the same sentiment or the opposite. For example, if ikaw tong tourist na na-reject, di ba, you might be sad or angry. I have the right because I am a customer and we all know that customer is always right. So, if you were an employee at San Miguel Corporation, that would be a love reaction. Kay kita man jud tanan, ganahan man jud tawag salary nagtrabaho ganito, di ba? Para naatay salary. It is safe to assume that companies do their best to do what is good for everyone. Yet, a certain degree of sacrifices is at stake. Thus, at the end of the day, it is not all bright and beautiful. These companies are guided by certain values and principles in dealing with investors, clients, employees, suppliers, and the community. This is encapsulated in the so-called business ethics. So here is the first question for your activity. Same gihapon before sa mga previous. First, you encode the question, and then after the question is your explanation. Question number 1, what are ethical problems mentioned in this particular case? What are the probable causes of these problems? What is business ethics? Ethics relates to choices and judgments about acceptable standards of conduct that guide the behavior of individuals and groups. Ethics is concerned what is morally good and bad and morally right and wrong. So mo ni when you say ethics, ano siya tong mga unsa bay dapat nato, unsa bay mga correct behavior na dapat natong himuon. These standards require both organizations and individuals to accept responsibility for their actions and to comply with established principles and values. Business ethics. Business ethics comprises the principles and standards that guide the behavior of individuals and groups in the world of business. Most definition of business ethics relate to rules, standards, and moral principles regarding what is right or wrong in specific situations. So, business ethics. If companies are not guided of which values and norms are appropriate and acceptable, companies may fail to balance their desire, especially for profits, against the wishes and needs of the society. Kay if dili sila guided, lain ba yun yung mga huna-huna sa dili man tanan no. Pero lain ba yun yung huna-huna sa mga businessman kay kwarta-kwarta ra ba yun na ila. Maunang they must be guided as to what are the needs of the society. Principles. Principles are specific and pervasive boundaries for behavior that are universal and absolute. They become the basis for rules. Ang principle is ang imong stand. Kabalo mo ang mga maprinsipyo na tao, di ba naa sila'y paninindigan. So they become the basis for rules. When you say rules, it has to be discussed and agreed. Values. Values are used to develop norms that are socially enforced, like integrity, accountability, and trust. So, what is the difference between values and ethics? I also ask my peers about this. Actually, kalahian nilang duha kay pareha man sila nag-deal with right and wrong. So, di ba? Ethics daw, from ethics is the general principle. Meaning, dili na siya mausap. It discuss about unsay tama, unsay mali. Whereas, kung mayroong ka values, it varies. Kay lahi-lahi man ng tao, and it can be influenced by your experiences, cultures, and beliefs. Value denotes the degree of importance of something or action what actions are the best thing to do. And then when you say norms, 'di ba? Are used to develop norms. Norms, we are talking about what is accepted by the majority in the society. And then a values po daw could be it is relative. Meaning dili nimo siya pwede i-judge kay para sa ilaha tama na, maybe para sa ato mali na. Example sa religion. 'Di ba sa ubang religion pwede sila na ay multiple partners or ginatawag nato og polygamy. Pero sa ato mali na kay dili pwede isa lang jud ang partner, di ba? Kasuhan gani sa ato if na ay mga bit. Pero sa ilaha, okay lang as long as makaya niya buhion ang iyahang mga asawa o iyahang mga pamilya. And then, some business people choose to behave ethically because of enlightened self-interest or the expectation that ethics pays. They want to act responsibly and assume that the public and customers will reward the company for its ethical actions. Di ba kabalo mo sa golden rule? Treat others the way you would like to be treated. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. So they want to act responsibly and assume that the public and customers will reward the company for its ethical actions. A shared vision of ethics that is part of an organizational culture can be questioned, analyzed, and modified as new issues develop. Nganong ingon ani man ang imong patakaran? We need to change it kay di ba dapat ingon ani man kay ang business nimo is about this and that. It can be modified, especially if there are new issues. Another example would be the pandemic. A lot of companies closed and policies were changed because of COVID 19. There are protocols that we need to follow. However, business ethics should relate to work environment, decisions and should not control or influence personal ethical issues. When the law does not specify how companies should behave, managers must decide what is the right or ethical way to behave toward the people and groups affected by their actions. When you are the manager, it is your responsibility to look after your people and know that a lot would be affected by your actions. Decide for the benefit of the majority and not for your own good. If you can observe kana sa mga malls, 'di ba? Before sila mag-open, kina-orient sila sa manager, ingani yung buhaton sa mga customers, and ingani, be good. Siya na yung mga ingon. So here is question number 2 for your activity. Is it all right to do something illegal or unethical to maintain the company's image and profitability? Explain. We have types of company stakeholders. We have stockholders, managers, customers, community, society, and nation, suppliers and distributors, employees. Stockholder. Stockholder is a person, company, or institution that owns at least one share of a company stock. They want to ensure that managers are behaving ethically and not risking investors' capital by engaging in actions that could hurt the company's reputation. But of course, as a stockholder, they want to maximize their return on investment. So, in short, kaning stockholder, mauni sila ang tag-iya. Managers, a person who controls the activities, business dealings, and other aspects of the company. They are responsible for using a company's financial capital and human resources to increase its performance. They have the right to expect a good return or reward by investing their human capital to improve a company's performance. But they frequently juggle multiple interests para lang jud molambo ang kumpanya. They are the person responsible for supervising and motivating employees and for directing the progress of an organization. Sila na mga sa planning strategies unsa may buhaton para mapalago ang negosyo, aside na i-manage pa nila ang overall sa company, mga tauhan, stock market. But the problem has been that in many companies, corrupt managers focus not on building the company's capital and stockholders' wealth, but on maximizing their own personal capital and wealth. You really cannot say that kana na manager is really corrupt just because you trust him or her and you know how a good person he is. When you are dealing with money, in my own opinion, trust no one. Companies can act ethically toward employees by creating an occupational structure that fairly and equitably rewards employees for their contributions. You must give importance to your employees because if wala sila, I don't think mulago ang imuhang business. If dako ang profit or if dako imuhang dako imuhang ginansya, then treat them, give them rewards and the like. Suppliers and distributors. Suppliers expect to be paid fairly and promptly for their inputs. Example, supplier ko og lubi. Syempre, dili ko gusto malugi kay naghago pud baya ko no. Dili pud tama nga utangon nimo ang ako ang supply, pag deliver na ako sa imuha dapat automatic bayadan ko nimo sa ako ang lubi. Now, distributors. Distributors expect to receive quality products at agreed upon prices. If I am the distributor, mamili jud ko from the supplier og mga quality na products. Example sa saging, pangaon jud nako tong mga hamis-hamis o dagko-dagko na saging. Mao pud nang usahay luoy pud ang supplier. Kay daghan og ma-reject. But also, you have to understand na kung mamili pud si distributor og mga saging na reject, dako pud ang iyahang lugi. So sa negosyo class, dapat na adyoy sinabtanay. Customers. Customers, mo na sila ang most critical stakeholder. Company must work to increase efficiency and effectiveness in order to create loyal customers and attract new ones. Mao gani na sa mga kumpanya, klase-klase na sila og pakulo para makakuha og daghan na customers. Example kanang sa mga gadgets. Kung si Oppo manghatag og freebies, dapat si Vivo manghatag pod og freebies or palabuan niya si Oppo. Or example baka manghatag siya og 500 cashback if magpalit ka sa ilaha og kanang cash, dili installment. Or ang uban manghatag og discounts. There are buy one take one, get 3 plus 1, free tumbler, and so on. So and then every now and then gina-remodel nila na ilahang mga products, like 'di ba sa iPhone 10, iPhone 11, sa Oppo na Oppo A5s, F9, F11. So every now and then nag-change para siya pa nag-change, there are changes for the better. Community, society, and nation. Community is a physical locations like towns or cities in which companies are located. A community provides a company with a physical and social infrastructure that allows it to operate. Like ang mga dagko na hotels, magtukod sa Davao City, daghan na restaurants, RTWs, malls. Kung daghan og company ang magtukod ana na community, meaning dagko ang ilahang taxes. Dagko ang taxes na makontribute nila sa government. A company contributes to the economy of the town or region through salaries, wages, and taxes. So, meaning kung dagko ang mga taxes or daghan ang negosyo, anang ang community, daghan ang mahimo na government projects. So, here is question number 3 for your activity. If you were the CEO of the company, what would you do and why? We have 4 rules for ethical decision making. First, utilitarian rule. Utilitarian rule and ethical decision should produce the greatest good for the greatest number of people, the majority. The right thing to do is whatever is most useful. Kung unsay dapat buhaton para sa majority or para mahapi ang kadaghanan, because the word utilitarianism comes from the word utility, which means usefulness. Then, moral rights rule. An ethical decision should maintain and protect the fundamental rights and privileges of people. We must know our fundamental right. We have the right to life, liberty, security, and property. Justice rule. An ethical decision should distribute benefits and harm among people in a fair, equitable, and impartial manner. Justice for many people refers to fairness. Justice is equal to fairness. Justice means giving each person what he or she deserves, or in more traditional terms, giving each person his or her due. Individuals should be treated the same unless they differ in the ways that are relevant to the situation in which they are involved. Example, if John and Paul both do the same work, walay kalahian sa ilang trabaho, like both sila naghago the same ang ilang trabaho, then in justice they should be paid the same wages. And if John is paid more than Paul simply because gwapong tao si John, he is white, then na ay injustice. This is a form of discrimination because race and sex are not relevant to normal work situations. Practical rule. An ethical decision should be one that manager has no hesitation to communicate to people outside the company because the typical person in a society would think the decision is acceptable. So that would be all. Thank you all for listening. For questions and clarifications, do not hesitate to get in touch. This is Michelle, your instructor in good governance and social responsibility subject. Good day all.